to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. And how about, the church is not a building, the church is not a steeple, the church is not a resting place, the church is a people. Hello there, Archbold United Methodist Church, Archbold community, or miracles of God's grace and mercy. So Sunday, March 8th, that was nearly 6 months ago. And that was the last time that the people of Archbold United Methodist Church gathered in this space to celebrate worship on a Sunday morning. Much has changed in our world since then, and we've worshiped apart online a lot. And we've even, since the beginning of July started worshiping in the park together. We've heard from many of you how much you've enjoyed worshiping in the park. However, we won't be able to stay there forever. In fact, we're coming up to a time when the weather's just not going to cooperate with us, and we will have to move back inside again. This video is going to be about a walkthrough of how things have changed on the inside there, and hopefully will reassure you about the process and procedures that we're undertaking to mitigate risk as much as possible. So first off, we're not going to cancel or stop our online worship or those procedures. We will continue to offer worship live on Facebook, which you do not have to have an account to join us on Facebook Live. In fact, if you just go to your browser, type in facebook.com/archboldumc/, it'll go to our Facebook page. It'll come up with this message about logging in or creating an account. You can just ignore that. You can ignore that, scroll down, click on videos, and you'll see videos there of the past, but when we're having a live service, that'll be the one that's up on the screen. After that service, we will do our best to get that up onto and transfer it over to YouTube as fast as possible. And you can watch it there anytime. You can also watch it on Facebook anytime as well. We'll also continue to have it on Artec TV with a rebroadcast the week following. So, now about in-person worship here on the corner of Ditto and Walnut. First thing is that no matter what you may have experienced in the past, you're going to need to know and understand that things have probably changed around here. We're only going to have this door available off the parking lot entrance for entry of the congregation to help control the flow of traffic and people moving in and moving out. Please come in this door only. Other doors are going to be open and unlocked, but those are going to be open for the purposes of ventilation and airflow throughout the building. So please don't go in those doors. Only come in this door. We're only going to have this side open so that you don't have to touch it. So that reduces surface contact with spaces. And because it's this door, it's going to be easier for folks to come up the ramp that's behind the camera there if they're in a wheelchair or a walker. And so they can come in and not have to go all the way around a door. So we've got an outline here of our COVID-19 procedures as you come into the building. You might be familiar with this sign because we've had it up on our office entrances for about a month or so now. Let's take a look at it. Please use hand sanitizer when entering. Some's available just right inside the door here, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. Please practice social distancing as best as possible. We're asking that every household maintain 6-foot distancing from all the other households that will be joining us for worship. Families are highly encouraged to remain together during the service. So mom, dad, keep the little ones with you, and everyone just stay together there who's in the same household. The use of masks is required. Now this comes from the State of Ohio Health Department orders. That when you're out in public, you're supposed to be wearing a mask. The only exception to this is that when staff are working in their offices or when ministers are leading in worship. So I will be putting my mask on and off throughout the service myself, and then others who are leading worship will be as well. But for the most part, masks are supposed to be on when you're in service. those with severe respiratory symptoms, temperatures greater than 100.1 Fahrenheit, anyone with the loss of taste or smell, or other symptoms that are commonly associated with COVID-19, or even the flu as you would be familiar and recognize. We're asking you not to enter and not to be a part of worship until you have been given the all clear. You are responsible for your exposure to illness during this time. Please be aware that you're entering an enclosed space in this last one. By entering, you do so at your own risk. Listen, we believe that everyone in the congregation is going to be responsible with their health. If you're an at-risk person, you may need to stay home for now and worship with us virtually. If you're not an at-risk person and you feel comfortable in coming, you're welcome to join us by following these procedures and everything else that we're going to be talking about in this video. So now that you're inside the building, two things that are important to note at this point. So by now, you need to have your mask on when you're coming into the building. And again, when you're in, remember to keep safe social distancing, so always keep spacing between you and the next family that's in place. Children under 2, by the health department orders, are not required to be wearing masks, but everyone else, unless you have a health exemption of some kind, we ask that you do your part and to wear a mask. Second thing that you need to know about is that we have hand sanitizing stations throughout the building, and we're going to be getting more as we are able to open up programming in the future. But for now, here's the first one right here. It's a manual one, and it's got the phone. So all of the other ones that you'll see throughout the building, except for the one at the office entrance, are just liquid, and they give a good amount. It's the CDC recommended amount of hand sanitizer, and they're all automatic dispensers, again, except for the one that's at the office entrance, and that one is a gel pack. When you come in, we'll have a volunteer here at this desk that's right inside the door. If you're a guest, we ask that you would stop at this desk and you would provide us with your name and contact information. Everything we're attempting to do in these procedures accomplishes one of two goals. The first goal is to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. We're hoping to keep everyone as healthy as possible. The second goal is if someone does get a positive diagnosis, we're going to have to go back to virtual worship for at least 2 weeks. And pray that our strategies have been enough and that they're doing what they're supposed to do. We know, because if no one else comes back positive, that we can return to worship after that 2-week period on that 3rd week, so that because if no one else has gotten it, then we know that everything we've done has prevented the spread among our group, and that it was only contained to that household. You'll notice that we're not going to be using our name tags. That cabinet over there is closed for now because these are too likely to spread germs via close contact. And as that weather approaches, we're also not going to be utilizing our coat room either. So keep your jacket with you. Again, just to point out to you, we have hand sanitizing stations here and one up at the top of the steps. They're the liquid kind, and they give out a good amount. The doors are going to remain open at the top of the steps. Again, that's to increase the amount of fresh air that's going to be flowing through to the sanctuary, and also to reduce the amount of time that you're going to be in contact with surfaces. We can't reduce the fact that you're going to be holding onto the rail. That's why we have hand sanitizer at the top and at the bottom. If we have any worship handouts, they're going to be on this cart here in front of the lower hand sanitizing station. You'll probably be coming straight in from the door at this point. So you don't have to use the hand sanitizer again. You've just used it as you walked in the building. And then you can travel on up the stairs. Once you've reached the top of the stairs though, please go ahead and take another dose of the hand sanitizer from the top station before you continue on into the sanctuary. Yes, there's even hand sanitizer here at the elevators. Before you use the elevator, we ask that you use the hand sanitizer before going inside. And then there's some hand sanitizing stations at all of the entrances, both at the upper level and at the lower level, and here at the Ditto Street entrance. And as a reminder, the Ditto Street doors here are going to be locked still and closed. You won't be able to come in that way. You'll need to come in the parking lot door down at the other end. Follow the directions of our ushers. They will help guide you to the next available seat The pews have been taped off. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but we've got some painter's tape that'll help keep the wood safe, but also to help keep you safe. It'll ensure safe social distancing because we're cutting off every other pew all the way up towards the front. Households of 4 or more are likely going to be sitting together in just one pew alone. Households with only 1 or 2 members attending will be guided to sit on one end of the pew or the other, and then keep a space in between them that will be about 6 feet. The usher at the back will guide you to which aisle to go down when it's time for you to go down a certain aisle to the next seat. And then the ushers at the other end will help be filling up the pews from the front of the sanctuary towards the back. And no worries, the very front pew is going to be reserved for those helping with leading worship. Something to know when you arrive in the pew. It's important that you stay here mask on. Remember that we have our masks on when we're in the building. And that we try to avoid traveling through crowds as much as possible. So please stay put as best that you can. Make sure you have everything that you need as you're coming inside. Families, you'll be staying together, and we're sorry, Mom and Dad, at this time we're not going to be able to provide any kind of childcare. So bring a goodie bag for your kiddos to help them be occupied during worship so that they can participate in the service as much as possible. If you do have to go to the restroom, I'm going to share with you here in a moment how that will work. You'll notice that our pew racks are empty, that we don't have any Bibles, any hymnals. The pens are gone, and all the papers that were in the pew are gone as well. These have been removed to help reduce contact with surfaces that would have to be cleaned later. Everything will be placed on the screen so that you can participate in worship. Singing and reciting along with the leaders is encouraged. Again, you have to keep your mask on. That's an important part of all of this that helps us stay safe while we're together, is to keep our masks on while we're in worship. You'll find that our restrooms are open and they are available. Try to pick the one that you're seated closest to and then move discreetly in that direction. All right, so after you're done using the restroom, you can't be stressed enough. Please, please, please wash your hands. On the sinks, you're gonna find a can of sanitizing spray like this Lysol. We ask that what you do is after you wash your hands, go around, spray all the surfaces you touch. So the toilet seat, the handle for the flush valve, the handles for the sink itself, and the dispenser for the paper towels if you're in the education wing room. Go ahead and spray those down. And then once you've done that, return that to the sink. But once you're out of the restroom, you're gonna find a hand sanitizing station. Here in the narthex, there's one right in this little alcove here. Just go ahead and get you a squirt. There's also a hand sanitizing station outside of the restrooms in the education wing. You can see a picture there of that. Go ahead and use those hand sanitizing stations, and then you'll be able to return to worship with us. Now, a note, the water fountains are going to be disconnected, and we're not going to be able to use those during this time. Worship is aimed to be about 45 minutes long. When the benediction has concluded, I will make my way around the outside of the church and back to the narthex, in case anybody would like to speak with me after church. The ushers are going to start to dismiss you. They're going to start at the back and then work their way to the front and help maintain the social distancing between households. Because taking up an offering and passing the plate is going to be a little bit difficult during these times, because an offering plate would be a high contact surface with lots of contamination possibilities, we're going to be taking up a retiring offering. So that means that when you bring God's tithes and your offerings to church, there's going to be offering plates at the back of the sanctuary. Remember that before you walk down the steps, you need to stop at this hand sanitizing station. I hope this walkthrough has been very helpful for you and reassuring how prepared we are and the procedures that we're going to put in place as we come back to worship in the sanctuary. For now, we're going to continue worshiping in the park as we're able. If it rains, and if there is rain in the forecast, come Friday afternoon, your worship team is going to get together and meet and discuss the possibility of coming back into the sanctuary because it's going to rain and we don't want to be in the park getting wet. So you will get the word out about that on a Friday afternoon using one call and social media to help you out. When the weather does start to turn cold and it's not possible for us to meet in the park anymore, the worship team will again meet and make that decision, and we will announce that at our last service in the park. It'll also be in the newsletter, announced on social media, and it'll go out as a one-call reminder as well. God bless, and I look forward to being with you in worship, whether it's here at the park or online.